Hello, good afternoon. We are together again and to talk about taxes today. Let me quickly get into the presentation mode for you. I am trying to get myself up so I can see myself for whatever reason. So I know I need to sit in certain ways so you can see me properly. But okay, folks, let me share screen with you, right? So because I really want to let you see what I have in store for you. And first of all, I always want to lead the conversation into YouTube channel because this is where we have all of our knowledge accumulated here. If you go to YouTube and type in community CPA, one word, channel name, then you will get into this channel as you see right now. And in here, there's two places you look. Number one, you can look at home to see what's going on. You can also come to the live stream here because this is the webinar that we did live. And I know it is already in the past because I already did those ones, but you can see content over here as well. And if you want to look for certain topics that you are wondering, but not sure when did we talk about that, or we even talked about that before, you can come over here on the research, just type into the word, the keyword you want to look for. For example, I am going to type in mark to market. Mark to market is a thing. And where people who does stock trading a lot knows what I'm talking about, but not a lot of tax preparation plays. People don't really get into that a lot, but we have some topics in here that you can learn from what we talked about. So if you type into mark to market and you hit enter, you get into all of these webinars that we have done in the past, folks. That is how you tap into the knowledge, all right? Then the other thing I also want you to see, it is actually our website. This is our website, communitycpa.com. You can make appointment with me right here. You don't have to call in for calendars. And obviously, our appointment here are paid consultation services. But if you get your question put together, or if you did your tax return and on TurboTax, and you just want me or someone on my team to review your tax with you to make sure you're doing it right, and you book our time, we come online. If you check me out, and you will actually see what on the calendar. So this is really a good tool for you folks to come to see. And my mouse is a little stiff for whatever reason. It does move like in real time. So it's kind of jumping like that. But you can see the time available. It will show in the dark orange, right? All right, that is so much I want to talk to you about. Let's go about doing our webinars. So we will start by showing you the slides I prepared for you. Then we go through these webinars together. So my topic today is about September 15th, and I want to concentrate on this date. I'm not going to go on to the history, figure out what happened on September 15th. I am just talking about tax and accounting, okay, folks? So before I get into that, I always want to brag about myself. Of course, you would allow me to brag about myself, right? And I am author, and I wrote this book in 2019. So the system is jumping. Let me move back. In 2019, I wrote the first book called Appointment with Ying at 8 a.m. This one is starting up a business. And in this year, I finished the second book called Appointment with Ying at 10 a.m., which is to grow the business. I mean, you know, business is a life journey, and you start, you grow, you expand, then you retire, right? So I have that 4 books in my head, and I finished 2, and I'm working on the 3rd one. So you will see me coming around with an appointment with Ying at 2 p.m., which is expanding your business beyond you. That is where people do merger, acquisition, or you can also do organic growth, and it just depends on your appetite, right? And then, of course, This is my second book, and this one is already coming out. I already see the symbol of the book. I am pretty sure in a month or so, it will be on Amazon. And this is the second book. And in all of our webinar, and we tell folks that the content, it is a disclaimer of the content with no responsibility. So that slide just went away. But here, this is our today's topic. What is due on September 15, folks? On September 15, and there's a couple of things in the accounting world you want to know. Number one, it is extended due date to file partnership and S corporation return for tax year 2022. So this is September 15. This week in 2023 is a due date for last year and extended ones. When did you file extension? That was in March. In March, you filed extension for 1065 and 1120S. So you arrived today, and this week on Friday, you need to submit your extended tax return. What happens if you don't? If you don't, you're going to be paying late filing penalty. And then, if you owe taxes, and on these pass-through entities, you don't owe taxes, but they charge you by each shareholder and each members and for being late. So there is a penalty for that. You want that to be filed. What else is due on September 15? That's the third quarter estimated tax payment for the current year, which is 2023, right? So, while you are dealing with 2022 taxes, your 2023 is going, and you want to make sure that you are not going to owe taxes in 2023. So right now, on September 15th, you want to make your third quarter estimated tax payment. And reporting just tips to your boss if you are an employee. So if you are an employee of a restaurant, and this Friday, you need to report your tips. The tips that you got in your pocket, your boss didn't know, you need to report to them so they can put that on your W-2, right? And then payroll tax deposit for August is also due on September 15. A lot of times, small business owners, you probably don't care about that because your payroll service people will do that for you. But just so you know that, in every area, almost in a business, you have income tax due, and you have, estimated tax due, and you have payroll tax due. And if you are an employee of a restaurant, your tips amount is due, the amount you need to report. Not that you need to give the money to your boss, but you need to tell the boss how much tips you got for the month of August. All right, so that is a quick summary of September 15. So now let me offer a little more details on each of these items. So 1120S, that is S corporation return, and that is due on Friday, right? And the reason it's due on Friday, and you know it because you are waiting for the K1. Without that K1, you're not going to be able to file your personal tax return. So you see how this pass-through entity, we call 1120S a pass-through entity, how that related to your 1040. That's why when you filed extension for your 1040, it extended to October 15, not September 15, because the system, the IRS big machine, knows you need to settle this first before you can file your personal. So that is 1120S. And also the pass-through entity, another one is the 1065 partnership. That one files a form called 1065. And 1065, it's also just like 1120S, it needed a K1 to go to the members. So if you are, if you have a 1065, you probably know that to wait for the K1 to come out before you file your 1040. So your 1040 would have to wait after September 15, okay? And of course, these pass-through entities, they don't pay taxes, right? They give all the tax results to your 1040. And if you knew you're gonna pay taxes normally every year, you want to make sure that you do estimated tax so you don't end up paying penalty for late filing of estimated tax. Sometimes folks are a little bit concerned because they're like, oh, I didn't know I have to pay taxes. I just ended up realizing that I made money. So now I have to pay a lot of taxes on my 1040. If that is your first year owed taxes on your 1040, you don't have estimated tax penalty. It only comes when you had 1 year before this year already owes taxes, then you again owe it, then you will be paying penalty. So with that said, let's look at, why people even wait for September 15 to file. So this is the comment I hear from people. My accountant could not get my taxes done timely. So every year I was told to file extension. Isn't that typical? Isn't that something you hear your friends or maybe even, your client think of you doing that? If you are, we have a lot of CPA firm employees and CPA firm owners listening to our webinars. So sometimes your client was complaining about you like that, saying that, my accountant just couldn't get it done. So I was told I have to file extension. So that is one reason, your accountant couldn't get it done. So you file extension, then you extend it to September, give more time. And then it also can be said that, as part of tax planning to avoid being audited, I file extension every year. There are people like that because yes, IRS actually gathering the pool of files to be audited, either by their plan to look at a certain areas of taxes they randomly select, or it is targeted on certain parameters. So with that said, of course, after the main tax season closes, IRS would be pulling data out of the system. Then sometimes when you pull the data out and you didn't even file it yet, of course, you don't have a chance to be pulled out. So that's what the people were talking about. They're saying that they're not going to fall into the audit because they filed extension, so their file is not ready until a lot later. More and more people, more and more companies are filing extension these days than before. So I know that every organization, including our government, is continue to improve, right? So IRS also will sooner or later learn that, well, we're gonna be selecting pools without prejudice, not based on when you file, but based on the data in your account, whether that's accurate. So with that said, the third reason is really the best reason, the only reason why you should be filing extension. So I do match each year before filing my return. So I file extension, but my taxes are literally done, just waiting for data match. This is our client. In our firm, we have a lot of people filing extension, but it's not because we couldn't get their work done. It is not because we told them that, well, you will get less audit, because we don't really exactly believe that's the case. Even if it was the case before, it is not going to be the case any longer. But we do make our client file extension because we do data match. So the reason data match has to happen later, because IRS takes time to get all the data collected from the employers, from the bank, from attorney's office. And remember, you get W-2, but your employer was sending W-3 and W-2 to IRS and Social Security Administration, and your banker were sending the trade information and the interest income and all of these things to IRS, and as well as your attorney, you sold houses, bought property. So these 1099s are floating around in IRS. And if you deposited cash, and IRS also have information on that. So IRS is collecting those data for 2022 and up to around July. Imagine if you want to know all the data they have, you got to pass the summer. So that's why you file extension, then you do data match sometimes in August. September comes around, file your taxes. It's a perfect schedule. It's a magical in the making. And if you do data match with our firm, and we do not have any of our clients who does data match actually get audited. But I'm not saying that you would never get audited because you do data match, but the chances has been drastically reduced because IRS system taking over our data will do error checking. If there is no mismatch, there is no errors, why would they even pull you out for audit? It doesn't make any sense. And unless they got so much manpower, they want to do other more massive audit and to make up the national deficit, I could not imagine them to go for those perfect files. And you want to be one of those perfect files, which is invisible inside of IRS system. You only are visible when the data you put in doesn't match to what the government has. So they are wondering which one is right. Then you'll be sent out and somebody, a real person, will be reading your tax return, evaluating whether you're going to be audited or not. There you go. You got a CP 2000 notice. You know what I'm talking about, right? So that's where you want to avoid, and where you file extension, you do data match, right? Other things to consider. So I talked about why you file extension and the best reason for filing extension, not your accountant too busy, not I don't want to be audited, only because you want the data match to be perfect. So you file accurate return. Even if you get audited because your data is accurate, why would you even worry? I would not be considering that to be a part of your life. So you will just be running really free, knowing that your data is clean. All right, so here, other things to consider. The estimated tax is something that I want to give a couple words to it today. You know, a lot of people struggle with estimated tax because, you know, maybe right now this year is different than last year. Last year you made money, you paid taxes, your tax accountant goes, here's the coupon, you're gonna pay $5,000 a quarter, and it's due on September 15th for $5,000. But right now you don't have that because you struggle for 2023, you just don't have the money to do estimated tax. So what's going to happen if you don't have money, but you're supposed to pay? In this case, don't break the camel's back and you just don't pay. Okay, if you don't have money, what can you do? You just don't pay. And the thing is, if you are doing not so great in 2023, maybe your first 2 quarter estimated tax is already good enough for the additional taxes you're going to pay. Maybe you don't even need to pay more taxes. Otherwise, of course, you can pay more, then you just get a refund back much later. For people with cash flow issue, much later tax refund is not helping today. So if you're struggling, know that you can drop estimated tax, you don't have to pay. But if you're doing so great and you are not doing estimated tax return, tax filing, you want to consider September 15 to be one of the payment you want to make. You may ask me that, okay, then how much do I make? And I will tell you, and you want to make for every extra money you make. Let's say at this point of time, you know that you made $100,000 more profit than before. Then I would recommend you to put 25% of that 100,000 into your estimated tax. So you still have 2 quarters left, right? Because you have September, you have January the 15th for the 4th quarter. So I will just divide that by 2. You know, pay part of it. And so that's where you want to think the estimated tax side. Depends on which state you live in, and you may be wanting to budget for 5%, maybe 0. Some state is 0, and so you will treat that estimated tax payment accordingly at the state level. But for the federal level, just to make sure that it is actually absolutely okay. If you don't have money, you don't pay, but just make sure that when you file your taxes and work with your accountant early, don't wait, don't file extension anymore next year, and pay your taxes timely. You can file extension for data match, like how we do it here, but you want to pay your tax liability on April 15 or March 15. That way you don't carry the liability over. You just extend the filing, right? All right. So in here, the last paragraph is actually is a very deep knowledge, and you can avert an IRS penalty by paying the lesser of 90% of taxes for 2023 or 100% of your 2022 levies if your adjusted gross income is less than 150,000. It is very wordy. It's a lot of rules, and I would just tell you that keep in mind, if you felt like you had more profit, just take 25% cut from the profit. Maybe put that in another bank account so you always have it, so you don't end up owing. But really, you don't need to, get involved like the tax professionals to know the in and out so clearly. I like to give a very general sense for my client because I know you are expert in something else, and let me be the expert for you, and I will give you the guidelines, and I just want you to believe, to trust we have your best interest in place, and we will take care of you, right? Now, let me cover a couple of other due days. Since I'm here talking about September 15, I just want you to know that the upcoming tax filing due days for individual is April, right? The deadline for individual extended return is October 15, 2023. So make sure that you have that in mind. So you have about a month to file your 1040 and also 1120, the C corporation. Deadline for withholding next year's federal income tax is April 15, July 15, October 15, January the 15th. So these are all the estimated tax payment due dates that you can put in the tax payment. Oh, I just realized that October 15. And this is actually for the third quarter, and you pay the estimated tax on October 15. So September 15 estimate tax. This is withholding tax. I'm talking to myself. Okay. Upcoming tax filing due date for business. This is the C Corp earlier I was talking about. Sometimes you may have a company that is running on its own. It doesn't really report income to your 1040. It's not a pass-through, it's individual by itself. It may even have a different calendar year, but this one is for December 31st calendar year, January to December. Then the extended due date is October 15. All right. So giving you that knowledge, so you know what's coming up for. I hope you kind of understand what we are saying about the September 15 due date. And your pass-through entity is due at that time, but I hope you didn't end up doing doing pass-through entities taxes because your accountant is too busy, because some wrong reasons. And you want to do that because you actually already finished data match. You are clear. And that's why you're filing taxes with extension. That should be the only reason why you file extension with your tax. All right. And we are through for this 30 minutes webinar. And I hope you enjoy our webinars. And I know we do a lot of those, and subscribe to our channel and put a thumb up for us. And we're not a marketing expert, so we never really have a good tool or know what to do with, marketing our channels. We are relying on you to tell to tell your friend about us, have them subscribe to our channel. And we are very steady, and it's not like we're coming up with things every day. We're pretty much a Tuesday and a Saturday is my time, and is in English. Then we have Monday in Chinese and a Friday in Spanish, and it's similar content. So if you have friends who want to learn, in fact, if you're a small business owner, why are you not wanting to learn? You have to. You don't have a choice. And you want to learn it here. If you have any question, go onto our website, book our time, talk to us, and or become our client. I welcome you to become our client. And you can email Catherine at communitycpa.com. And our phone number is right there, 515-288-3188. Remember, we open 6 days a week. Yes, 6 days a week, Monday to Saturday. And we are all workaholics. So we just love to work. And everyone who are with Community CPA, our 40 peoples, we all love the job we have. So, when you come through our firm, you will feel the different vibes and energy, because that's just how we are. And I hope to see you, and let me know you come to us because of the webinar. I would love to hear that. Talk to you again. Bye-bye.